Welcome, skeptics and truth seekers, to Schoolhouse Crock, the podcast that fearlessly exposes the real deal behind public education in the state of Colorado. I am your host, Stacey Castile, and on this show, we are not here to sugarcoat. We are here to unveil the truths, challenge the norms, and unpack the crock of you-know-what that often goes unnoticed in the realm of education. On this episode, I have Guest Yazmin Navarro, who is running for State Board of Education for Congressional District 8. Yazmin, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you give us a little background on yourself?
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Stacy, for having me. I really appreciate it. My name is Yazmin Navarro. I am running for State Board of Education and CDA. My background is pretty simple. I am a mom. I have been in education most of my adult life. I am a military spouse, now retired. My husband served for 20 years, and we've been married almost 19. Of those years, I have an 8-year-old daughter who is the love of my life. I noticed there were a lot of issues with education, and that's one of the main reasons I decided to run. I am the daughter of migrant workers. We moved around a lot as a child because we moved wherever there was work. I have served my country in the State Department. Well, alongside my husband, who is the Marine. I worked in education sectors while I was abroad, helping American State Department families navigate educational options that were available to them in the country, which was interesting. I absolutely loved it. It just brought so much perspective when it came to comparing the American school systems and, other country school systems. So that was an awesome opportunity for me. I am a person who is deeply devoted to education, not only because I have a small child in our local education sector, but because I had to learn English being the daughter of migrant workers. And I was a child of the ELL services. And now I am an English major myself. I have a BA in English and I have a master's in public administration. I push education so much. I think it's so important to make sure that all children are well educated and become productive members of our society. One thing that always sticks with me, and I try to teach my own daughter and my students, is a lesson that my mother gave me, which was, I will never be able to give you any monetary wealth, but I will give you a great education, and no one can ever take that away from you. So that's something that's deeply embedded in my heart. And it's something that I hope that I can continue to pass on to the next generation. I'm running because not only because I have a child in our schools, but because I believe our kids deserve better. And they're getting the short end of the stick, to be honest. We are lacking focus when it comes to education, which is mind blowing to me because we're in the business of educating. I come from a very diverse background when it comes to education. I am not your teacher that's in the classroom all the time. I have created curriculums for Boys and Girls Clubs. I have worked with at-risk students and making sure that they're even in the seat when it comes to educating, making sure that their needs are met when it comes to even having a home or having food on the table, to make sure that they're okay to be able to learn. I have worked with college students from freshmen to senior citizen. And to this day, I substitute in our schools because I want to know what's happening in our classrooms. And I just really enjoy hanging out with kids. They're so much fun and they're so full of potential. And hence the reason I am still in education. I absolutely love it. I love our kids and I want to do right by them.
Well, and I feel like too, as much as you're there to teach the students, don't you feel like you learn so much from them when you get to interact with them? Not only
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
how people learn, but just like some of their creativity is so exhilarating, if you would, and inspiring to be that young again, if you could bottle it up, right?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely enjoy it. That my students call me Mrs. N, and it's fun getting down on the floor, doing a circle and having a good discussion, seeing their critical thinking skills. I have to push them a lot to be able to think for themselves, right? But it's amazing once they get the hang of it. They're full of potential. They're full of all of these questions, and to me, it's just so much fun. And they've taught me so much, especially when it comes to unconditional love. They will love you. You invest in them. You show them that you do truly care. I mean, these kids are just Now I'm going to get emotional. I have had a couple stories. I don't know if I can share them here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've had a student who I had to chase around quite a bit when I worked at the at-risk high school. And, he cussed me out left and right for a while. And I just kept showing up. I had to. I couldn't give up on this kid. And I worked with mom and I chased him down. Mom would tell me he's this friend's house. That's where I'm heading to. He's over here. That's where I'm heading to. And I just wanted to show him that I am committed and that I won't let him go and I won't let him fall through the cracks. And eventually he started coming around and he started doing his homework, started to show up. Then he noticed that his parents were hurting for money and he took on a job and it was working with machinery and he had an accident at work. He lost 3 fingers on his right hand and he got sent to Denver. So I got to go and see him in the hospital. He was, absolutely devastated. I can't blame him. I can't even imagine such a young man. And then we had to start kind of all over because he wanted to give up on himself. And
Yeah.
I'm very thankful that we were able to get through it again. And he was able to graduate. He graduated from high school. And that was just unbelievable how amazing this kid was that he could do this. And I knew he could do it, but the work came from him. I'm so blessed that I get to do things like that I could be there for my student. I've also had a student that was doing drugs and doing all this stuff. And again, you show up for these kids. They will show up. They will show up for you. They will do what's right. And they see that you do care. It turned around for him. He started coming to school. He'd always call me Miss. Nah, never misses. No, Miss. Yes, I'm going to do the homework. And it was just lovely. And I remember the last conversation I had with him. We were having a breakfast for the kids, to just come and get some work done. And we provide breakfast and things like that. And he's just so excited and talking to me about his newborn daughter. Absolutely lovely little girl. And then I got a call on Mother's Day that he had been in a car accident. And so I went to see him in the hospital and prayed outside his room and just hoped. He wasn't looking good and he passed away. So got to go to the funeral.
It's so nice to see teachers that are willing to put in this time and dedication to the students because you're absolutely correct. They do need this. They do just need
Yep.
someone to show up for them. And whether
Yes.
their parents are not able to, right, because they're working full time, they've got their own
Mm-hmm.
traumas that they're trying to work through, like whatever the reasoning that their parents can't be there for them. When you have a teacher that shows up for you, that can be the biggest game changer there is.
It is. I remember as a child myself, I had teachers show up for me because my parents couldn't be there. And I don't know where I'd be if they had not invested in me. And I know it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of time that they don't get paid for. These teachers are unsung heroes. They really, truly are. God, I can't speak more highly about teachers. They are just most amazing creatures that walk this planet, let me tell you. And the way they invest in our children it's absolutely mind-blowing to me. The love, just the love that they give to children it's beautiful.
Definitely. So I do know that this is not your first campaign. Is that correct?
That is correct. I ran for my local school board here in Thompson School District, and it was absolutely amazing to see how people reacted towards me. And I got to meet all people from all walks of life, got to hear all of these beautiful stories, and got to work with amazing people on my slate. It was an amazing experience. I did not win. It was very difficult to run against people that had a lot of monetary financial.
Yes.
However, the way I see it, I ran a clean race. I ran for what was right, for my own values, for my students who were watching this race very carefully and would ask me all the time how it was going. And I'm just um, thankful for everyone that invested their time and talent and treasure in my campaign. I truly, truly am a blessed person, and I've made lifelong friendships from this, and I've learned so much, so much.
Most definitely. And I think too, like when you talk about getting to meet people from all different walks of life, when I was running, I really felt like I was exposed to situations that I would never have even thought of. And so it exposed a lot more to me that I wasn't aware.
No, I definitely agree. And that's one of the main reasons I continue to substitute teach in our local school district is because of that. They can tell me everything, but unless I'm there experiencing it myself and seeing what's truly happening within the classroom walls, I will never have a full grasp of that understanding, that knowledge. So I think it's very important, like you said, Stacy, that if you are presented with all this new information that you were not aware of, but now, when right?
Yeah.
You can actually do something about it. That'd be a great opportunity to take on to work with the school. There's definitely ways to get creative, and it just opens up a new world of possibilities that you can support your school in that sense and support your students.
I agree.
That
I think it really just forms this closer community too, right? Like if
hmm
you have to
hmm
rely on your community. And so this just creates such a better sense of community and willingness to, help a friend out.
Agreed. Agreed. There was this one place that's so near and dear to my heart where I spent a good, 4 years of my life. Is one of the places I stayed on the longest when we were children. And it truly was a community. I mean, you look out for each other. You want the best for your community. You want the best for your neighbor. And I remember one Christmas, my parents had no work. They got laid off and stuff. And they didn't tell anybody. They're very proud people. And they just kept telling us, getting us prepared, like, hey, there's not going to be Christmas this year. We'll be lucky to have food on the table. I grew up like that. That's some of the earliest memories I remember is we didn't always have much.
Yeah.
And so I'm the oldest, so I had to put on a brave face for my siblings and things of that nature. But you know what? Christmas Eve, someone knocked on our door. We never saw who it was, but it was a whole Christmas Eve feast for our family. I mean, we were just absolutely shocked. The next day, Santa showed up at our door and he brought presents to us children. And this is what I mean. Our community is so important, especially for kids to this day. That has always stayed so deeply in my heart that I try my hardest to make sure that if I am aware, no child is ever going to go hungry
Yeah.
around me, period. And it's something that I teach my own child. We need to take care of each other. We truly do.
I agree.